Welcome back to Longbox Diving, where we explore comics and story arcs that are pulled from the Longbox. I was talking about last episode about issues 1 and 2. And it was okay. Not fantastic, but okay, and I enjoy reading it. And the premise seemed promising, and the ending had a nice little cliffhanger. But we are now reviewing issues 3 and 4, and in this episode, I am going to confirm a fan theory that Bishop of the X-Men is actually Jar Jar Binks. Well, maybe not necessarily a fan theory, but we'll still be proving that Bishop is Jar Jar Binks in this episode. Now, we start with the X-Men mourning Psylocke. Psylocke died last issue, stabbed by Vargas, and this whole issue is basically that. They're mourning Psylocke. Nothing else really kind of happens. This first page looks really pretty good. It's not very active, but it is emotional. They're all gathered around her body, and it's very touching. It's not bad. It's pretty good. So the next page is a good splash page. Rogue, Bishop, Storm, all of them surrounded by the Spanish personnel that had captured them and put them through a maze, and basically is kind of responsible for Psylocke's death in a way. And they're all gathered around them. Now here is where we kind of have our first problem. You see Rogue here is standing next to Bishop. And essentially one page later, no time has passed, but now she is kneeling on one knee down on the ground with her head bowed. Like she's completely exhausted, just wrecked. Okay. I guess that could kind of happen off panel. We didn't see it. It can happen in a moment. She falls to her knee. I get it. Could happen. Okay. But then 2 panels later, again, essentially no time has passed. She is back on her feet helping somebody. Okay. It's weird. It's just weird to me. Now, granted, it has no real effect on the story. It doesn't change anything, but it is a visual medium. This is a visual medium, and it's very off-putting to see something that does not make sense in my brain. Now, maybe it's just me, but it didn't seem to make sense to me, and it kind of just was off-putting to me. So, for the past. All right, so now we see the X-Men continue to argue with the Spanish authorities, and they then explain about Vargas, and the Spanish authorities do agree with them that, hey, Rogue, Hank, and Psylocke defended the humans against Vargas. Well, Vargas was the one wiping everybody out. So they kind of let him go, and we see Psylocke's body zipped up in a body bag, and we see everybody crying, more crying. And Bishop then, before they load Psylocke, he takes her hand and he finds some DNA under her fingernails. Cop moment, CSI X-Men. And he then sends it over to Sage to do some analysis on it, and she finds out he is definitely human, though he is more, obviously he's more, but he's just human. And then we start to get our first flashback. We flash back to Psylocke. Now, Psylocke, in this sequence, we see that she was a fashion model. And she was a special agent for England. With martial arts training, weapons training, she seemed to be in battle. And then we see that she infiltrates the Hellfire Club. And that's where she meets Tessa. Now, Tessa is Sage. And Sage, was sent there by Professor X. And this actually kind of leads into another subplot for Sage. Why did I not get to become one of the original X-Men? Why? And later on we find out that she was actually the same age as Hank, and she had been recruited by Xavier at the same time Hank was. So why wasn't she allowed to be on the team? Why did she have to be a spy? And so she views everything from that prism, and we see that it seems like, okay, could be an interesting subplot. Now, we see the X-Men start hunting Vargas, and there's a cool panel that's kind of really dark. We see Bishop crashing through fire, looking for Vargas. We see another panel that Storm's shooting lightning. Rogue is walking with claws extended through the fire. Here's another problem. Rogue seems to think she's now Wolverine. And it feels like this is being played up a little much. There's another point. She grabs him and flies him up, puts the whole fist thing where the 2 claws come like this and his head's in between, and she pops the 3 claws over here saying, yes, I have 3 claws, and if you don't tell me what I want to know, I'll pop the 3rd claw on this hand, and that's a Wolverine thing. I think I've seen Wolverine do that several times. So now here is Rogue doing the same thing. I think this is starting to get played up too much. We're only three issues in, and I've seen her pop claws multiple times now. She's superhuman. She has super strength and flight and invulnerability. She doesn't need the claws. But, okay. Then we flip back to another backstory of Psylocke. Then we see her training with Rogue and Thunderbird in the Danger Room. And of course, Psylocke wins against Rogue and Thunderbird, and we then kind of see the beginning of that Thunderbird-Psylocke relationship. He's laying on the ground defeated, and he's looking up, staring at her. She's like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "You." Okay. So now we're back to the present, and the team is discussing how they can't find anything on Vargas. Now, everything they seem to find, is a red herring. It's sending them on wild goose chases. It's leading them in circles. And it comes down to, it appears that they're only going to find Vargas when Vargas wants to find them. And I guess Vargas is now just not only above human and superhuman, he's also smarter than all of them, including the living computer. So we see Sage with Hank. Sage is, again, a living computer. And here we do see a little that she's more than that. She's more than just a living computer. She has other powers, things that now we're going to discuss a little bit. And she sees Hank lying there, and she is hurting, and she's going to try to do something about it. And what she says her powers are is not just being able to see people's mutations, but she's able to see all the potential mutations that person might have, and then she's able to help bring them forward. All right, that again has some interesting potential. I kind of like that idea where she can see the mutation and help bring it out, and maybe help guide the mutation of the person to the best possible potential. But then she decides that to heal Hank, she needs to further mutate him into what he is supposed to become. And this big blue furry mutation that he has now is not the final mutation that he should become, and there's just an intermediate step. Now, I'm not so sure I like that. We will have to see how that kind of works out. But Hank comes to, is healed, thanks to Sage, and who doesn't want to be called Tessa anymore. She wants to be called Sage. We then get the theory that Vargas could be the embodiment of something called the Xavier Protocols. Now, Storm knows about this. So when Xavier found every mutant Xavier found, he also then devised a means to destroy that mutant if he ever became evil. Never used it. I think he would have destroyed Magneto many times over by now, but he never used that Xavier Protocols. And that apparently Xavier is the Batman of the Marvel Universe, I guess. But, so there's Xavier Protocols, and what Sage thinks is that Vargas may be the human embodiment of the Xavier Protocols. The nth degree. What would come if Xavier ever initiated that? Again, they're painting Xavier as the bad guy. Why? I don't know. And then we get yet another flashback of Thunderbird and Psylocke dancing. Okay, next page. We have Brian, Psylocke's brother, and Megan, sister-in-law. They fly in on a private jet to take Psylocke's body home, and Vargas is in the back watching them through a scope. And he says, Psylocke was the first, but she won't be the last. And we get a nice picture of Psylocke, kind of made up of a cloud. And it's cool, but okay, I'm not sure why. So now we're into issue 4, and here things fall apart really fast. So first we have Gambit fighting the Vargas twins. Why? I don't know. How did he even know where Vargas was? How did he know about Vargas? Why didn't he go tell the X-Men? A lot of different things here that I just don't understand why. So, okay, I can wait for those answers. Maybe they'll come later. But now I want to look at the art here. He's kicking one of the Vargas twins in the face, and then you see with his left foot, and you see his right knee behind his left ankle. That doesn't seem right. It doesn't make sense to me. And then we look at the other Vargas twin, and she looks like she's jumping like a frog. That doesn't make sense to me either. Maybe there's a reason for all this. I don't know. It's just weird. It was off-putting to me. It wasn't a good opening page to me. Fighting, yes. That, no. So Gambit is fighting the twins, and then he meets Vargas, who supposedly comes in with a golf clap. All right. So off Gambit, back to the other team, the X-Men team, and they are apparently taking a break from hunting Vargas to go camping. And they're sitting around a campfire. Rogue apparently has a guitar, and she is playing, and she clearly says, I'm playing the blues. I don't know if any of you know the blues. Blues is not happy songs. Blues are sad songs, which makes sense. They just lost Psylocke. They can't find Vargas. She's playing the blues. She's a Louisiana girl. She's Bayou. She's playing the blues. Thunderbird then looks at her and says, how can you be so cheerful, Rogue? She was playing the blues. That's like the exact opposite of cheerful. Okay. But it gets worse. Now we get to the Bishop fan theory. Now, Bishop gets teleported by Gateway to Ayers Rock in apparently dream space, and Psylocke comes in his dreams to discuss potential futures and finding the diaries, etc. Bishop then finds out that Gateway is his father, or his grandfather. Okay, so Bishop is Australian. Then we see all the alternate personalities, or alternate possibilities of Bishop. And we clearly see Jar Jar Binks. Look at that. It looks like Jar Jar Binks. Bishop is Jar Jar Binks, and Jar Jar Binks is apparently an Australian mutant. Now, I don't know if this has any bearing on the Star Wars lore. Well, maybe someone else can tell me, since both of them are owned by Disney. Is Jar Jar Binks officially now Bishop, and Bishop is officially Jar Jar Binks? I don't know. And then we also see somebody saying, hey, I see the resemblance between you and Gateway. That seems off. All right. Then I think the whole point of this dream sequence was that there's a space needle. I don't know why. They mention it many times. It actually gets explained to us that it's a space elevator going up and down 22,000 miles. Yeah, thanks for that. That was a big deal in this dream sequence. I don't know why. Then we see Bishop. He's looking at Gambit, drawn on the ground, apparently from like a drawing from one of Destiny's diaries, and that it looks like Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. So Gambit is now the perfect man. All right. There's a dire warning about the future. It's terrible. I get it. That's why they need the diaries. And then Rogue teleports everybody to Bishop into Dreamtime. But again, that doesn't make sense either. She did absorb Gateway, so she should be able to teleport. Yeah, I get it. But the Dreamtime was supposed to be shaman powers, not mutant powers. Can Rogue actually take shaman powers from somebody by absorbing them? I know she could take memory. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But again, it also appears like a plot device that we're just kind of using her powers as a way to further the story and bring everybody over here, which they could have done that in any other way. So Bishop relates what he saw, including Gambit in the diary. We then see Gambit charming his way with Vargas. Again, not much happened here. Then the X-Men decide to break into Destiny's house. Now see, here's another problem. We see them hiding. They're hiding there, trying to break into Bishop's house, or Destiny's house. And Bishop decides now is the perfect time to train Thunderbird's plasma powers by burning through steel hockey puck and an adamantium hockey puck. What? Why? So 2 pages of nonsense here. None of it makes sense. So they break into the house, and then, they move into the house, and we see now Bishop is cooking breakfast wearing an apron. All right, so back to Gambit. Gambit is now having a conversation with Vargas, and Vargas shows the Psylocke statue. Creepy. He made a statue of Psylocke. Creepy. Because she was worthy. Now, Gambit explains he wants a good game. That's what he's in for. I want a good game. And that he's not part of the X-Men. He is just the Joker in the deck. Okay? Still doesn't answer all my questions. I don't know why. And then Vargas asks Gambit, why are you sparsely mentioned in the diaries? And it's because I'm not an X-Men. They toast each other, and Gambit leaves. Saying, hey, I'm the best. Self-congratulating himself for being the best. Okay. Again, this issue didn't make a lot of sense. Then we have a Storm fashion show They found a dress. Storm tries it on, walks down the stairs in front of everybody, goes, "Look, I'm not comfortable with this." Then why'd you do it? Why are we having a fashion show? We just had a camp out. We broke into place. Now we're having a fashion show. Gambit, of course, is looking in the window. Sage kind of recognizes that somebody's there. She's using the computer, processing all that data. But Gambit quickly escapes. Again, I don't know why. I don't know why Gambit's there. Then we see the book that Rogue was looking for. That's supposed to be in Destiny's house. And it was in a box. And she opens it up. And there's the rose that was put in Psylocke's coffin by Thunderbird. And now the team's kind of upset. So the book's missing, and Psylocke's coffin has been violated, and somebody put the rose in. Now, I am not sure if it was Vargas. It's being implied that it was Gambit. I guess it was Gambit did it. But by the end of the book, we see that Vargas has the book in his hand. He says, "Let's see what happens next." So I guess Gambit's back to being a bad guy. He worked for Sinister, now he's working for Vargas. I don't know. So these two issues had some issues. The first one was kind of minor, and I guess I kind of overlooked it. It just kind of pulled me out of the fantasy of reading the comic and being involved in that comic. So it was just kind of minor stuff. It was a little boring. It was more of a memorial to Psylocke. Not a lot happened. Then the second issue, it was just all over the place. We had Gateway being Bishop's grandfather. I guess that's kind of okay. That's not that big of a deal. But then Bishop is Jar Jar. I have proof right there. I don't know how that's going to affect Star Wars. I think it should. Then we have Rogue. Can do any power. It seems to do any power, and it just seems to be a plot device. And she thinks she's Wolverine now because she's always using the claws, and then we're training plasma powers while we're trying to break into a house that Storm actually brought in fog to surround the house so nobody would see them. So let's just shoot. And then we have Gambit there. He's not helping the X-Men. He seems to be helping Vargas. I don't know what's going on there. I guess it can be okay, but it didn't make a lot of sense. Now, I hope this picks up in the next couple issues, because otherwise this review may be cut short, because I'm not going to review something that's stupid. I read it a long time ago. I remember it being better, but I was a lot younger then and stupid. So apparently I have a lot of nostalgia memory of this. But we'll keep going the next couple of issues to see how it goes. So I hope you all enjoyed this review. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on The Long Box. Thanks.